time to get loose, Goose, because we're going with the flow. The Nova Flow. Looser. Looser. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nova Flow is a first-person speedrunning platformer by Melbourne-based developer Rad and Goose. You'll be leaping across floating platforms in a neon tronscape as you shoot different coloured lights to clear your path, all while a pumping electronic dance soundtrack plays.
There's lots of blank platforms which you'll need to light up in order to pass. And they'll behave differently depending on what colour you use to light them. Blue makes you go faster, red gives you a good bounce, and yellow makes you stick. They also look different according to what colour would be most useful. Blue platforms are long with lots of holes, red ones are more square, and yellow ones are walls that you can run across.
But don't let the game tell you what to do or what colour things should be. You do you. I sometimes found that using an unexpected colour was very useful for getting past a tricky area. It's nice that the game makes suggestions, but it's also cool you have the freedom to do your own thing.
Oh, I love doing my own thing. The game also drip feeds you new mechanics and obstacles, which nicely ramps up the challenge. It's also super satisfying when you can settle into the groove and link quite long runs together, making snappy decisions and quick movements. Nova Flow actually uses one of my favourite gameplay styles, known as Twitch gameplay.
Twitch gameplay puts your reaction times to the test and requires you to respond almost immediately. They're defined by see and react situations, where something happens, like an enemy appearing, and the faster you can deal with it, the better you will do.
Thanks, Darren. You may have already seen this style of game before in titles like Tower of Guns, or even Tetris has Twitch elements as the game gets faster.
Ooh, it's such an adrenaline rush trying to figure out what to do on the fly. Think fast!
Ah!
Pretty good. And Nova Flow does a pretty good job of keeping that sense of smooth and linked motion going. However, there are some moments where you almost need to come to a complete standstill to pass. That is not what I signed up for. This is supposed to be Nova Flow, not Nova Slow.
Yeah, the game movement wasn't always quite what I expected. What's wrong with your face?
I came up with that line myself. Nova Slow, they rhyme.
There were quite a few times when I totally thought I should have made a jump, but instead I just fell straight to the floor. But for every time that happened, there were times when I'd just stick a landing I was sure I was going to miss. And in that way it seemed to remain balanced, but it still didn't feel as tight as I'd like for a game that really only has one thing going on.
Yeah, but even though the platforming isn't always perfect, I quite liked how stripped back it was. It's kind of like playing a really pure experience.
Yeah, except maybe too stripped back in the case of things like the graphics. This is a pretty bare-bones game visually, and I don't love the jaggy look of the platforms or the empty background. It's all just triangles and cubes. In fact, it kind of reminds me of Darren's new house.
That's preposterous, Goose. I think you'll find that my digital abode has been outfitted with the very highest quality ones and zeros.
Yeah, it's definitely not a beautiful game, but it does the job in giving you the information to get to the next platform. Which is all it's trying to do.
Yeah, it's almost as if this game is like a training session. With quick reload times and speedrun options, you can jump in again and again just to hone your skills. I can't be 100% sure, Rad, but I almost feel like playing this should kind of improve my reflexes.
Yeah, but like most training, it's best not to overdo it. Nova Flow is pretty intense, with fast-moving lights and pulsating sound. If you're sensitive to strobing effects, I would maybe give this a miss. I definitely started to feel a bit woozy if I played for too long.
Yeah, definitely. I started to feel too wired and too twitchy, but maybe that's why it's called Twitch gameplay. All in all, Nova Flow is a cool little game that's fun to take for a spin in between other things, so I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
I really love Twitch-based shooters, and this lets you experience all the side-strafing fun in a family-friendly package. I really liked it. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Crank that music again?
Yeah!